Okay. All right. So you know that Christ is black, right?
Yes.
So you do. All right. So where can we go to find that out? Because a lot of our people say, I know that he's black. I know he's a man of color. But how does the Bible describe Christ?
It describes him as a man with really curly hair, like a sheep's hair.
Uh-huh.
And his pigmentation is dark.
Okay. Is that your son right there, right?
This is my son.
All right. So what's your name, my brother? I didn't get your name.
Ismael.
Ishmael and your son?
Samuel.
Samuel. My name's Ira, all right? So Ishmael and Samuel, all right? So check this out. I want you to look at these signs right here, right? You're about to look at these signs, and you say you know that Christ is black. We're going to show you in the Bible. So now you can be able to show your son exactly where it says it in the Bible. Get that.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So the revelation means to reveal. So we're about to reveal what Christ looked like according to the Bible. All right, verse 14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So he said his head and his hairs are white like wool, meaning the head on his hair and on his face were white like wool, right? What type of animal has wool type hair?
Like a sheep.
Like a sheep, right? Like a sheep, wool, curly, right?
Right.
Read on.
As white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So, my brother, so you seem very knowledgeable about the Bible. What was Christ's first miracle? If you don't know, it's fine.
He created light.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. But, you know, according to this first miracle that he turned water into wine at the wedding, right? So Christ drank wine. He drank wine in moderation. So as our people, if we drink wine, what happened to the whites of our eyes?
We drink any liquor.
Pretty much any liquor, right? What happened to our eyes?
They opened.
They open, they turn red.
Correct.
Right, they turn red. So Christ drank wine in moderation, right?
Correct.
Read.
At verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass.
So this is John looking at Christ. And he looked down at his feet. He said his feet were like unto fine brass. What color is brass?
Gold.
You said gold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gold color.
Well, let's picture a person, right? So what color would his feet be if looking at a person?
Obviously, there would be a...
Look at this sign. We got something to help you, brother. Look at the sign right there, right?
Brass right there.
So that's brass, right? What color is that?
A very dark brown.
A very dark brown, right? So Christ is saying that the Bible is saying that Christ was a man of color, dark brown.
That's
so
right.
We're going to get more into it. It's going to describe him even further. Read on.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if it burned in a furnace.
It said, excuse me, read again.
As if they burned in a furnace.
As if they burned in a furnace. So my brother, you take anything like rice, toast, anything like that and burn it to a crisp, what color would it be?
It's going to turn really dark.
It's going to turn really dark.
Yeah.
So the Bible is describing Christ as a man of color.
Correct.
Right, but they have given us this image here. Why is that?
So that society can accept it.
So you say it's more easier to accept this than the true definition of what Christ looked like?
For the ignorant and the people that are, for people that are ignorant, don't want to accept the truth.
Okay, so that's right, the truth. They're hiding the truth from our people. They're not giving us the true description of what Christ looked like. But that also is to deceive us. You got that, Matthew? They're trying to deceive the people. Now we think Christ is white, so every time we look at a white man, we're like, oh man, he must be Jesus. He got the long flowing hair, he got the blue eyes. Oh man, he's close to Christ-like. But the Bible is describing Christ is looking close to us as a people, not like them, right? And the purpose of that is this. This is what the Bible says.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 24.
Bring it out.
For there shall arise false Christ.
So they're going to arise false Christ, like the images you see on this right here, right? Shall arise false Christ, read.
And false prophets.
And false prophets, the same people that are pushing this image, that is a false prophet, read.
And shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible that they shall deceive the very elect.
It said if it was possible, they're going to deceive the elect. They're going to deceive the people, meaning lie to God's elect people. Who are the elect? They're going to lie to us. Why is that? Why would they want to lie to a people and give us this false image? Why you ponder on that? We're going to see who they are.
Because it's very, people are intimidated by people of color.
So people are intimidated by people of color.
Because a lot of the times people have the misconception based on what they hear. And instead of getting to know the people, the individual, their culture, they go based on whatever, social media analysis they might want to go by,
Right.
But they don't want to accept the truth.
They don't want to accept the truth. So one of the truth is, like the Bible says, it will deceive the elect. So who are God's elect? My brother, let me ask you, who are God's elect?
I don't speak English, I speak Spanish.
In Spanish? Okay, all right. My brother, so I ask you, who are God's elect? Right, because what you said was a true, was a good point. Like, they're intimidated by us. Why would people be intimidated by us? We're going to see why. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 4.
Bring it out.
For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect.
So the Bible is describing a people as the elect. He said Jacob and Israel are God's elect. So who are they today? Don't know?
No.
All right, so let's look at some of the things that will help us identify who those people are today. All right? So Moses was speaking to the Israelites after they came out of Egypt. After they came out of Egypt, he told them this is what happened to God's elect. All right? So let's look at that. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15.
You want verse
Read
1?
out. Here we go right there.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Chapter 28. So these are the words which Moses spake to all Israel. So he identified that early in the chapter that he was only speaking to the Israelites, right? All right, so let's see some of those things that the Israelites, the Jacob and Israel, would go through today to help identify who those people are. Read verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So who is Moses speaking to again?
The Israelites.
He's speaking to the Israelites. He told the Israelites, if you do not listen to the voice of God, read,
to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So let me ask you, brother. Now, as a people, as everybody in the world, right? Let's get everybody together. As everybody in the world, do everybody listen to God's commandments?
No.
All right. No. So, for instance, nobody listens to God's commandments today, right? But a specific thing will happen to Jacob and Israel. Do you remember what they said in that verse? What will happen to them if they don't listen?
Yeah, all the curses
will come upon them. Let's look at one of these curses.
Verse 16, curse shall be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field.
He said one of the curses, you'll be cursed in the city and also cursed in the field, meaning the places of where we live at, right? Right. So if we look at everybody in the world and compare and say, all right, I see this nation over here, I see this nation over here. Which one what would you say curse is, a good or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
A bad thing. All right, so according to the Bible, right, a curse is a bad thing. So let's see. If we compare the people in the world and got all the nations together, who is more cursed in the city than any other nation?
I would say that's colored people.
People of color.
I see us.
We are more cursed. Like, look at our conditions of where we stand. We got to deal with drugs. We got to deal with low income housing, right? And from there, if anybody comes out of the prison system, what do they put them at? They put them in our neighborhoods, the ghettos, the barrios, right? He said the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Would you agree? Right. He said one of the things that will happen to the Israelites, you'll be cursed in the city. And you'll also be cursed in the field. Imagine staying out in the field, right? And you got your own farmland. Our people had farmland back in the day, right? Yes. And what would happen to that farmland?
Taken away.
By who? We can be honest with each other, brother. We're family here, right? People will come take it away. Who are those people that will come take it away?
people that are not of color.
People of another color. Would you agree what would be the white man?
I would agree.
Would you be the so-called Arab man, the so-called the so-called Chinese man, right? He said you said they would come take it away. So one of the curses that we had to deal with was being cursed in the city, cursed in the field where we live in. Our people go through the same things. Our people are strung out on drugs, no matter where we go through. Read on.
Verse 17.
Let's go to 16 again.
Verse 16. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field.
It said cursed in the field. So imagine you got a job, right? You got to provide for your household. But who owns the company that you go to and go work? Is it your people? No, we got to work in the job field for another nation, right? We got to go to our enemies for the things that we want, right? Verse 48. So this is Moses speaking to a specific group of people. He said these things will happen to you. God's elect, this will be the people that it will happen to. And now, as we are comparing the things that are going through what we go through, we are identifying who it is as a people. One of these things that it says is going to happen to God's elect is this. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
Bring it out.
Therefore, thou shalt serve thine
He
enemies.
said we'll do what?
Therefore, thou shalt serve thine enemies.
So we go to work for all these other nations. We have built up America, our people on our backs. We have served here in America, building up America. Read on.
Which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in
He
thirst.
said you will serve your enemies for hunger and thirst. Remember we were talking about that field. You had those natural resources. But today, we don't have the field. So what we do, we go and serve the other nations in those fields, turn around, put it in their stores, and guess what? We have to go to their stores to get the food that we want. After we done bust our butts working hard to pick the food, it's right there in our hands. We turn it over to another nation, and they turn around and sell it back to us. He said you'll serve those enemies for hunger. And for what?
In hunger and in thirst.
Think about the natural resource of water. We just had rain come down today. How many of our people outside collecting rain so they can drink it?
Negative.
Negative, but we'll go to the store and we'll buy what? Water sold to us by Coca-Cola, Pepsi. We go to El Super, we'll buy the bottled water when it's got a natural resource of water come down there. Even the water that we use to take our bath, brush our teeth, we have to pay for it. We have to serve our enemies for it. Read.
And in nakedness.
Even the clothes on our backs. My brother, what's that pirate hat mean to you?
Close.
It's clothes, right? We got Jordan on there, but Jordan don't even own the company. You know what I'm saying? So even the clothes, the textiles, and everything that we wear, we have to serve our enemies for. Right? Read.
And in want of all things.
Including our education. Did you get educated here?
Yes.
Okay, so as growing up and being educated here, did they teach you your nationality?
They tried not to.
They don't teach you who you are according to the Bible. They don't even teach you about your ancestors. I asked a lot of so-called Mexican people, like, what did they teach you about your people in school? Like, they never taught us anything, but they know about George Washington. They know about the Magna Carta over in Europe. That has nothing to do with our people. But you got to go to them for our education.
They even teach us about Christopher Columbus.
Even Christopher Columbus, who came and stole your land, came in and sold us out, took us back to Europe, right? Yep. These things don't happen to us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Remember, the Bible was saying that he was addressing God's elect. So who are the God's elect today, according to the Bible? Let's take a look at this sign. I got another sign to help us identify who God's elect is. Take a look at this, my brother. And tell me, can you see your nationality on there?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what do you see?
The Aztecs.
You said Aztecs, all right. So you look at this sign, right? You see Aztecs, you see Mexican, right? What's beside it? Probably never even heard that word before, right? You been to church?
Yes.
You've been to church. And they never spoke about these people right here, have they?
Never.
Why?
They want to hide it from.
They want to hide the truth from it, like you said earlier. My brother, according to the Bible, we are God's elect.
Right.
We are God's chosen.
Bring it out.
You, according to the Bible, will be an Israelite from the tribe of Issachar.
Oh, see,
I will be an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Right? So when he said God's elect, he was talking about us. As we identify what Moses was speaking to right here, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Those are God's elect. Those are things that we are continually going through today. This is Moses speaking to the Israelites over 2,000 plus years ago, but they're still going through it today. Why is that? Why would we be going through serving our enemies? Why would we be going through being at the bottom of society?
Keep teaching, keep teaching.
Why would we have to go through these things as a people? Why?
They want to hold us back from the truth.
Why the Bible tells us why we had to go through these things. Read that verse again. 28:15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
My brother, what does that word hearken mean? Let's ask you something. You know what hearken means? You never heard that word before, right? That's something that we don't really use too often. But hearken means to listen. He said if we don't listen.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If we don't listen to God, read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So what were we supposed to do as a people? He said it right there. If they don't listen to what? Let's read it again. Let's make sure we get it, all right? Stay on the same page with me. Read one more time.
And where yes, sir. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
So the word that he said is to do. What does to do mean?
Follow.
To follow. It's an action behind it, right? If I say, hey, go do this over here, that means I'm giving you an action, right?
Right.
So what action were the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans supposed to apply? We'll see.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So they were supposed to apply his laws, his statutes, and his commandments.
Right.
That was what we are supposed to apply in our lives, right? And then we were supposed to have good success by applying those things. But it said if we don't apply those things, what will happen? We'll be faced with curses.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.